Oh, well, sorry. Welcome on board, everyone. Join me on live. Before you give up on her, watch this. Now, most of the time, before you end up giving up on a lady, okay? Welcome on board, everyone. I want men to understand three things that are involved and why most of the time it will be hard for you, okay, to understand a woman who is thriving off of chaos, turmoil, and consistently arguing, and she has to start something chaotic. She has to argue with you. She has to start an argument. I'm going to dive deeper how it happens, and this information is for only gentlemen who understand how, okay, how hard it is to deal with. You'll be welcome on board to deal with this lady, and then at the same time, how it might be confusing when you are dealing with a lady who is consistently starting chaos in turmoil and drama. Now, first, sometimes a lady who is consistently, the lady you are dating right now, your wife, your girlfriend, that you don't understand, and she is consistently arguing, she is consistently having disagreements that are unnecessary with you, and sometimes she is lengthening the disagreements that you have, and you're trying to understand this lady, but you cannot understand her. Maybe you're trying to figure her out if she has a problem. Now, let's dive deeper to truly understand where the problem is. And there is, again, today it's a different topic that most of you guys who are here, you are going to receive the information that you have never received before. And I want you guys to take this as it is. Again, take this as it is. A woman who is consistently testing you, using games, starting arguments, pulling back, coming back, and maybe she wants to get intimate with you, and then after maybe getting intimate with you, she pulls back, right? Instantly. She doesn't want to have a conversation emotionally. There is also a possibility that she can't even solve an existing issue with you in a mature level. Gentlemen, this is something that I want you to pay close attention to. There is a possibility that she is not narcissistic again. Before you give up on her, there is a possibility, a high chance, this is to only specific women. And I will tell you how they act up, how they test you, how they will start an argument, because that chaotic system, it is ingrained in their internal state of being, and that is their coping mechanism. And she's not starting arguments trying to control you because she is malicious. No, that is her coping mechanism. And that coping mechanism, if you try to maybe lash out, there is a possibility that it will escalate. Or there is a possibility that when you start an argument, she might even fight back. Again, gentlemen, it's not narcissism. That is her internal operating system. There is a possibility that there was a time that internal system was triggered. Maybe at first you thought there was genuine love, you had a relationship, and she was different and she was unique, right? There was love. Now you're having a relationship with this lady, and then maybe after 2 years, something happened in your marriage or in your relationship, right? Maybe things changed, right? Maybe before things changed, something happened. Maybe you had kids with her. Maybe something different. Listen to me. Or she just changed. There is a possibility, gentlemen, that you are dealing with a woman who is a fearful avoidant. Now, what matters is not her avoidance style and coping mechanism. What matters is what amplified that fear that reinforced her to change. I am encouraging men to understand their women first before you exit, or maybe you think she will change, or maybe you think she's narcissistic. These women, they mimic narcissism character, okay? Because every time she acts, you think she is malicious, but what she ended to act, or what she planned, her intention was to gain control, because that is what communicates safety and security. That is what de-escalates fear in her internal coping mechanism. Because her internal coping mechanism, it is operating on what? It is operating on a fearful avoidant and on insecurity. Again, there is, gentlemen, there is a possibility that she is mimicking narcissistic character because she went through trauma, but she is not narcissistic. Let me read your questions first before I dive deeper and give you the real cause of this, okay? Let me read your questions first. And then, okay? I made it on time. Great. Can't wait for question time. JPaid, welcome on board. Gobena, what to do if my teenage girl be hard to approach again? Get clear on yourself, Gobena. If she starts to be combative, it's either she's lost respect or scared. And exactly. And when you talk about a woman, sorry, a woman getting scared, okay? Matthew Paloma says, okay, sorry. Matthew Paloma says, okay, so she's gone. She came back. We talked for 2 hours. It seemed like she was concerned about her lack of respect to me. No, Matthew. No. So she's gone. She came back. We talked for 2 hours. Seemed like she was concerned about her lack of respect to me. The next time we talked, she walked back her role in the previous. Exactly, Matthew. See, when she comes back, okay, after pulling back from that relationship, after walking away, she is testing who she thinks you are, because who she thinks you are communicates safety or fear. And it's just a perception. Either there is a possibility that she is also testing if you are a high value. That is another story. That is another character that can't contradict with a fearful avoidant woman. With a fearful avoidant woman whose fear has been amplified, and the fear can be amplified, okay, if something happened in her life when she was with you. That That is a pattern that reminds her that maybe you can never trust people. People are just the same. He can abandon me, and the only way to feel like he can never abandon me or to feel safe around him and not see him as a threat is to test him and see if he will abandon me. If you abandon her, obviously she will try to beg. Okay? Not because she wants a serious relationship, but she is a fearful avoider and she doesn't want to be abandoned, but that confirms her fear and she will tell herself, I was actually right. Now, she will go extreme miles to test you, to argue, to start chaos and drama, not because she wants to control and she is malicious. No, that is her internal coping mechanism because the fear has been amplified. And when the fear is amplified, she can only cope with that if she can be on control of a situation of that relationship so that she can feel secure. And when she is in control, that reinforces her internal coping mechanism of a chaotic system internally, and that magnifies and confirms that that is the only way she can survive and build a serious, stable relationship with you. But at the same time, she mimics narcissism character, and it will exactly mean to you that she is narcissistic. Let me hope, gentlemen, you have learned something there. Okay, so she's gone. So Matthew, your leadership determines if she trusts, okay? She trusts the relationship. And by extension, where the relation, by extension, where her life is. Exactly. You can only lead in that relationship if she trusts where the relationship is. And here's the thing, gentlemen, it's her perception. Even when you use a leadership voice of leading in that marriage or relationship, but then it triggers fear, that fear, okay, that fear will bypass connection that was initially there. And at the moment, even when her body wants to connect with you and wants to have a serious relationship with you, the coping mechanism that has been triggered at that very moment by what she perceives as threat, that is her brain. It will bypass her nature of connection that needs to come out naturally without forcing. And that is why there will be a push and pull effect. She will go extreme miles just to feel safe. She's not narcissistic. She will mimic the character of narcissism. Exactly. And if that coping mechanism can be magnified, that is, you agree with her internal coping mechanism, that, and you try to fix, it's not a conscious fix, okay? It's a subconscious fix. You think you are helping her when you do this. That justifies her pattern and it magnifies that coping mechanism and her system, her coping system. It's a chaotic system. That is internally. The only way she can have a relationship with you is operating on a chaotic system, a chaotic pattern, starting an argument. Why? After an argument, I will convince myself that now that it already happened, he cares. Now that he paid attention to me, the relationship exists, because that is the only way they can feel loved. Most of these women, I don't care how attractive she seems to be on her side. I don't care, Isaac. Most of these women who are fearful avoidant, okay, they believe they don't deserve love. They have to fight for love. But in the process of fighting for love, and then you show her that you are not reciprocating to her chaotic character, that will bruise her ego. And when her ego is crushed at that very moment or bruised at that very moment, Isaac, she can deal with that feeling because she already expected it to happen. And she knew she had to fight for that. And she knew she doesn't deserve true love because maybe in her past marriage or in her past relationship, Isaac, she did what? She tried hard to work for a relationship. She tried hard. So her way of operating is to feel safe. Anytime there is certainty, the love that exists heightens an emotion that she can't deal with. Because at that very moment when you are with her, okay, she thinks you don't genuinely love her. That is what she believes because she is consistently operating on fear, and that fear was amplified at a certain period. I don't know what happened in your relationship, Isaac, and what she perceived as threat, because that pattern confirmed one of her past patterns in her life. Now she is entirely convinced that you are a threat. And the only way you can have a relationship with her is if she operates on a chaotic system to sustain what? To sustain a relationship, because that chaotic operating internal system is the only thing that can deal with her fear. That is her coping mechanism of fear, not you. It's not you. It's never you. And when she is stressful, she will want to have a conversation. After wanting to have a conversation with you, Isaac, you will also comply and maybe think, oh, she wants to apologize. One will try to apologize, but then when she listens to you and then you blame her or you tell her that you're not taking accountability, that is blaming her. That is not having a serious conversation. Now she is testing you to see if what she thought exists actually exists. When you tell her to take accountability, you will be blaming her and you're not having a mature conversation. And now her body will go into a flight and fight mode instantly. And now the only way she can deal with fear at that very moment, because she is with you, you told her that triggers fear that had already been amplified before. And when you tell her to take accountability, you are a leader. At that very moment, Isaac, she will leave. Maybe she will tell you she doesn't love you. When she leaves, when she tells you that she doesn't love you, she doesn't mean it. She means that is the only way I can deal with fear. Come on. Now, here's the thing. Maybe she will continuously pull back because the chaotic internal system, that is her only operating system that can deal with her fear. They are not emotionally stable to deal with the internal emotions when they are overwhelmed or they are stressed. So when she's starting chaos after you tell her to take accountability, that is not having a mature conversation according to her. This is not test. This is a genuine game for you, gentlemen. She doesn't see it as I am supposed to take accountability. She sees it as I can't be safe around you. You are always blaming me, even when she was the cause of that argument, and she wants to have a conversation. When she wants to have a conversation, she is getting a way to connect with you. She's trying to find a way to connect with you because her body is in a mixed emotional state and she doesn't know how to deal with her emotions. Sometimes when she is extremely stressed, she will do something that will piss you off. And then she will feel guilty. When she will feel guilty, she will want to apologize. But upon meeting you, Isaac, and then you tell her to take accountability of that before apologizing, to her, apologizing is getting intimate and connecting with you. But she doesn't feel safe. So fear will kick in because you told her to take accountability. And you will try to say, so I'm dealing with a kid. Yeah. There is a possibility that she's not narcissistic. There is a possibility that she's not healthy for you. There is a possibility that when you leave her, she might even be extremely chaotic and she will cause harm to herself so that you can't live. Are you in a relationship? You're telling me, Isaac. Was there connection at first? Yeah, there was. Was it genuine at first? Yeah, it was genuine. Something happened on the way that amplified fear. When it amplified fear, her only coping mechanism is a chaotic operating system internally. That is who she is. It's not about you. It's not that she doesn't love you. When she says she doesn't have feelings for you at that very moment, she means it because she is operating on fear. She is operating on fear, but that is the only way she can deal with that fear. And when you are on fear, you can't be attracted or you can't feel connected with someone until you deal with that fear. But the only way she can deal with that fear is through a chaotic pattern. It will cause harm. Yeah, it will. It will. It's not healthy. It's not. Now, let me answer your questions before I continue with you, gentlemen. Understood. Thank you. You're welcome, Matthew. Martin Robert. Too late now. No, you're just here. I gave up on her. Yeah, sometimes if you haven't had a relationship with her and maybe you don't have a marriage, you don't have kids, she has to deal with that. She has to find a healthy coping mechanism because if she has a chaotic coping mechanism, my friend, it's going to cause more harm. And there is more to that and how to deal with that. For you who have sessions with me, actually, they have an advantage of getting more information on that. For you who don't have sessions with me, coaching sessions with me, you have some time actually, because you never know. Maybe I only have some few days, weeks, or maybe months, and then I end the sessions. Get your chance. Try to understand your lady. From problems, let's solve it. Let's get a solution. Okay? Her behavior, this is true. Yeah, this is true curiosity. Okay. Her behavior patterns do mimic that of narcissism. Exactly. But she is not narcissistic. She's just extremely fearful, needs control in order to feel better. Yes, finally someone who gets it, in order to feel safe. And I know you will ask me, you will tell me, sometimes she fights, she starts an argument, and then it might lead to fighting. That is her only way of feeling safe, because when you pay attention to her, Isaac, that communicates that she matters and you won't abandon her. Come on, Jen, I want us to inquire this together so that you can know and understand what you are dealing with and why you're not getting answers. Okay, gentlemen? Facts, damn, what have I been doing? Finally. This system is extremely chaotic. Exactly. Someone finally who gets it. You know, we have women who have a specific coping mechanism, and if you are willing to understand it, you will understand it and you will learn. But it doesn't mean it's healthy for you, but it just means you understand them better so that how they act can't really trigger you and you can't question yourself because there will always be confusion. Now, there is more to that, how to deal with it, how to move forward, how to cope with that. Some of you will learn this, some of you won't, but maybe in the future you will learn. Yeah. She always apologizes. Okay, this system is extremely chaotic, exactly. But when I don't reciprocate or entertain that chaotic character, she will become a ghost, a ghost for a time, then come back. I know it. I know it. I know it. Curiosity. She always apologizes, always comes back, but she can't help these things, does them again. Exactly. She will just go back to her system, to her pattern. So when she comes to apologize, it doesn't mean that maybe she's sorry and she will change. It means she is seeking for connection and she wants to feel safe, and she can also convince herself that you can't abandon her and you are not a threat. But tomorrow, what she will hear from you, how you will tell her a certain thing, how she will interpret that thing, how she will understand it, that is her perception of what you will say, is what will mimic that you are a threat, because that is how she perceives it. Now the fear kicks in. Now she is hyper vigilant. Now something is off. And sometimes when fear is kicking in, it's accompanied with anxiety. And when a woman is operating on anxiety and fear, and she's not aware of that emotion, and she thinks something is wrong because her brain knows the only way she can fix this is to start arguments, unnecessary drama. Oh, you have a long way to go. A very long way to go, Isaac. Damn, it all makes sense now. It does. This is matching your own inconsistent leadership. Your B. I know you are saying she's matching your own inconsistent leadership. When you say inconsistent leadership, what you think is a leadership to you, your B, she might perceive it as threat. Again, this is to specific women. And for most of my gentlemen, they can relate with this. You'll be unconsciously. Okay. But when I just accept things, these things, and just walk away, it will never happen, right, Yobi? Right, King Curiosity? She gets mad and comes back after time, then shows extremely high interest. I feel like someone is abandoning me. And I have to fight for that love, for that affection. And not that I will keep it. But I believe, thanks, Curiosity, but know that, thanks, Curiosity, know that okay, know that I will change, okay? Know that I am highly interested in you, but I have fear that you will abandon me. And I have an extreme insecurity, even when she is extremely attractive. She will fight you just to get your attention and to feel secure, because this confirms that she is in control. This confirms, Isaac, that you won't abandon her, and this confirms to what she believes, that she needs to fight for love. She is acting on her coping mechanism, not on true love. And that confirms that she won you. And most women, they will only want to fight for you because that is the only way they can be in that marriage, because that relates with the pattern of what she believes in her brain. But then she doesn't really believe that a relationship must be healthy. She doesn't believe that. When there is certainty and comfortability, fear kicks in. It raises. Something is wrong. I think he is ahead. At this moment, that system is being interrupted by the consistent care and love. And her brain is telling herself, I am getting too close to Isaac. I am losing myself to Isaac. I am connecting emotionally to Isaac. And Isaac is a hazard. Why? Because emotionally, Isaac, okay, emotionally, I will need to open up. But there is a possibility that he will abandon me when I open up. If there is connection, fear bypasses that connection. Now she will pull back so that she can deal with that fear, because the only way she can deal with that fear is to again use that chaotic pattern of pulling back to control the fear, because they are not emotionally stable internally to deal with strong emotions, even if it's just intimacy, and also mature conversation. And it's hard, trust me. If you try to be too nice, sometimes it will work. But if it's consistent, you will see things are okay. But then after a few months or a few weeks, she goes back to the same pattern, or she starts an unnecessary argument. Then you ask yourself, I can't understand this human being. What is wrong with her? No, it's not you. It's her brain. Now, connection has been on the operating system, okay? She has been on that operating system for a while. And at this very moment, okay, she is telling herself, that is the brain, I haven't used a pattern. That is the chaotic internal operating system. And because I am consistently operating on this connection system, I will be abandoned. I can't deal with these emotions of love, care. When the moment she tells herself, I can't deal with these emotions of love and care, fear kicks in. When now fear instantly kicks in, what will she do? The only thing that can deal with that fear, it's chaos. Not you, Isaac. It's chaos. When she is stressed because of the too much love, fear kicks in. And the stress and that fear, when it kicks in, the only thing that can deal with that fear, it's chaos, Isaac. Because chaos is her internal operating system. Okay? So, she mimics narcissistic character, but she is not narcissistic. And the patterns will be extremely and exactly be like the one person who is narcissistic. Trust me, you will believe that she is narcissistic. Trust me on that. And every time you react back, you start an argument the same way she starts, and then you respond to that argument, instead of understanding her as just something that is messing up with her because she hasn't dealt with her own issues internally. That reinforces that pattern internally in her internal system. Now, but when I just accept this, okay, she gets mad, comes back. If I reciprocate at all, if I reciprocate at all, anything, she goes back to her coping mechanism. Exactly. Like, now someone who finally gets it. It's not you. It's not that she doesn't love you. It's her. It's all in her. And what she thinks is threat. You, Isaac, you are a hazard. That is how she perceives it. Because that is the only way she can deal with her fear. When she perceives you as a hazard, that chaotic system deals with her fear. That chaotic system deals with her fear. It's so hard, I know. I know. There is more to that. But maybe you met with this lady. At first year, second year, third year, there was love, there was care, there was some empathy, understanding. Then you're asking yourself, I think maybe something changed after 5 years. No, something happened in your marriage, in your relationship that amplified fear. Fear was there. She was an avoidant, and fear was there, but it was just dormant. The moment something happened, it amplified that fear. She has never dealt with that. She's only coping with that through a chaotic system that she used to operate on in her past. I have met a girl who is extremely narcissistic. There now are women who are extremely narcissistic because that is their character and that is the intention. What is she getting in that relationship? Is she leaving you? Because some of the narcissistic people might also be supporting at first, only because they see potential in you. But avoidant people will also support you, not because they see potential in you, but they're just pure at first and they feel safe. Again, they were just pure and they feel safe. I've met a girl who is extremely narcissistic. There is a big difference. That I do agree. Love bomb in the beginning, then this starts happening. Now that looks in her eyes only come back after I ignore her for about 2 weeks. Lemon pepper. My guys, oh, you are in deep shit. You are in deep shit. I wish you figure your things out. Okay? Okay. Now, your questions, bring out your questions now. Let's deal with that one lady. Have a chance. Most of you gentlemen, you come have sessions with me. Sometimes we have conversations, okay? Then we end up finding solutions, then you leave. For most of you who have ended up finding solutions in your marriages and relationship, and you are satisfied, it was my pleasure serving you. And for most of you who also are still having sessions with me, I hope you get what will be safe and okay with you. And I hope we can also have a better outcome. And I am actually determined to get you answers, and I know we'll have one. And for those ones who say they will have a conversation and sessions with me in the near future, gentlemen, I hope I will be available, because things change, you never know. If things change, I will need to stop the sessions, and then but you will be getting my knowledge and insights. Okay? So it depends. It depends with you, gentlemen. You have a chance to ask extreme questions, to have sessions with me, because these are the only chance you have, gentlemen. Most of you after I leave, because I also have a personal life, you come asking, I want to have a session with you. I want to have a coaching session with you. Sometimes personal issues come up. Some things are so important that you need to stop the sessions to deal with those. It might take months, weeks, even years, maybe even forever. Okay? So if you have a chance, get yourself time. Let's have a conversation. Let's have sessions. Let's close this in, because you never know. You never know. Okay? You have your time. At least I'm warning you, gentlemen, you have your time. So make use of that. Questions? Questions? So I hope I have answered your questions at least today. Okay, gentlemen? Some of the women that you are dealing with are not narcissistic, but it doesn't mean that their character is healthy. Because there is a possibility that every time they will act to cope with their own fear, that will trigger you. It's just something that will happen consistently until she triggers you, and then it's like she's causing some issues in the relationship. It's not stable, but at the same time, it will affect you. You will burn out emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and even physically. And your health comes first. Because these women, they won't even cheat. They will be loyal. And you will think, oh, she's malicious. No. No. She's operating on fear. That fear that was amplified, I don't know when, how, but we can figure that out. Gentlemen, you are dealing with a fucked up shit. Exactly. Love bomb in the beginning, then this starts happening. Now that look in her eyes only come back after I ignore her for about 2 weeks. Now, don't confuse a woman who is an avoidant because her fear has been amplified with a narcissistic woman. Let's differentiate that. Okay? A narcissistic woman will act out to be malicious, but a fearful avoidant woman will act out to feel safe because she perceives you as a hazard. That is how she sees the world. It's not you. When she perceives you as a hazard, that deals with her fear. Because perceiving you as a hazard, she goes back to a chaotic operating system. That is what the brain is used to. And now her body can move from connection physically because her body is fighting to connect with you, but then the brain is used to a specific pattern that is a chaotic pattern that can't deal with fear. So even when she wants to connect with you and the connection is there, fear is bypassing that fear. Oh, fear is bypassing that connection. Now she can't connect with you. And now the only system that is leading at that very moment is the brain. And it's a chaotic operating system. She gave me all her debit cards. Won't leave. Should I keep her? Today at least I'm having a conversation with gentlemen who are mature and who are learning something at least. So I don't know. Why did she give you her debit cards? Maybe she can't deal with hard conversations. And the only way she can feel safe is to hand over her cards so that she can feel safe, because she can't deal with hard conversation and mature conversations. Because with these women, when emotionally she can't deal with, there is lack of a strong internal emotional, what's the right word, system that needs to be there, but it's lacking. And the only way she can deal with anything that is extremely emotionally is to just give up, to just avoid. And you might think she's in love. Yeah, she is in love. But fear is bypassing love. Fear is bypassing connection. And if your need is love, care, and empathy, and fear is bypassing that, she needs to be aware of that. She needs to work on herself. Even when she is aware of herself and her character, if she can't deal with her internal issues and she can't be aware of her internal chaotic operating system, you can never fix her. Never. You only try to be nice to create peace and serenity on your side, but that peace might be perceived as something is not right. Why? There is too much connection. I am not used to this connection. When there is too much connection, fear. Now, when there is fear at that moment, because she perceives the love, care, and the peace as intimacy. She perceives that as intimacy and not a normal, peaceful relationship. When she perceives that as intimacy, because emotionally she feels like she is connecting with you and it is too much, she can't deal with that. Fear kicks in. How can she deal with that fear? She can only deal with that fear if she is chaotic, because she lacks a strong internal coping mechanism that is healthy. The only coping mechanism is chaotic. What are the signs that a woman portrays? What are the signs that a woman portrays might show fear in the future during the relationship? My friend, it depends. Now, here's the thing. In the front end game, like just dating a woman, even for the first year, she might not show it, right? Now, how you can know that in the near future she will show this fear? Most of them, you have to go back how they were raised. You have to go back to their parents if they were narcissistic, and maybe she's not aware that that is her internal coping mechanism. That is why she feels the way she feels it. She's not aware. All she knows that her operating system is the only right way she can cope with things because of what she perceives as a hazard or threat. Now you have to go back to how she was raised, her parents. Maybe she was raised with maybe only a father who was all over in her life. Maybe he used to control her, right? And the only way she could have been loved in her time, okay, was when she fought so hard for the dad to show love, or maybe she tried so hard to please her parents. And now she can't just get love, even she can't measure love logically. That I'm doing this, Isaac is doing this, and I am doing this, it is a win-win. No. She sees every love as extreme intimacy. I can't deal with these emotions. I think it's too much. Fear kicks in. I think he will abandon me. I need to be chaotic to cope up with this fear. And to be chaotic is to see you as a hazard. Start arguments. She will even fight. In the moments of fighting, she is manipulative. At that very moment, she will feel guilty. Now, when she tries to have an argument with you, and then she senses that she is manipulative, okay, she will feel guilt at that very time. Now, when she is guilty, Isaac, here is where the problem is. She might even try to apologize. Okay? She will try to be nice. She will feel bad. But when she apologizes, it doesn't mean she's sorry. It just means that now when she fights with you, and then either you pay attention to her or you respond at that very moment, maybe it communicates intimacy. I am connecting with him. But connecting with him is not the pattern that is on the forefront right now. It's not the pattern I am using right now. The pattern I am using right now is the brain and not the body. And if the brain is working consistently, I need to deal with that and fix that before I go back to this, to the body. Wow, that is a lot. Yeah. I was going. So what are the signs that a woman portrays might show fear in the, because at the first year and the second year, you won't see anything. Okay? You won't even think that in the near future, she will show this extreme chaotic character. You have to go back to how she was raised. If her parents were narcissistic, if she was raised by only maybe one parent, maybe a father, then also go back to her past relationship. If she went through also some trauma, she needs to deal with that shit. She needs to be aware, but she can't be aware because maybe that pattern has been ingrained internally in her past life, maybe when she was a kid, or maybe from 15 years. Right now she is 30 years, that is 15 years, and ingrained is like a code, a bug, is like a system. When you want to use this system, okay, but it has a bug in it, does it mean that the system has a problem, or it's the bug in the system? It's the bug in the system that is the problem. And that is how this system will process information. It doesn't matter how things work, how you try to be nice, how you try to maneuver. Trying to be nice most of the time is just you looking for ways to bypass the bug inside that system so that you can work with the system. But it doesn't remove the bug in the system. Let me hope you're getting the answers, gentlemen. Now, questions? What are the signs that a woman portrays might show fear in the future during the relationship? So we have to go back to how she was raised, her past relationship. You have to know if she went through some trauma, if she has dealt with that or not. If she hasn't dealt with that trauma, she has to be aware of that and know that she lacks a strong internal operating system that can deal with the emotions that will resurface when you have a mature, serious conversation, so that you can deal with things that are serious and needs to be attended to. You will just be the leader. You will make decisions. She will be even in argument in that, not because she doesn't want to be on the same page with you. No, she doesn't know how to have a mature, a serious conversation because she doesn't know how to deal with those extreme emotions. And the only way, every time you try hard to convince her to have a strong conversation with her, to her, you are raising an emotional state that she can't deal with. You are consistently raising that emotional state that is weakness, a deficiency in her. Just a second, guys. Yeah. Yeah. So, what are the signs that a woman portrays might show fear in the future during the relationship? During the relationship, in the near future, a woman will show fear if you know her past. But most of the time, they will lie. But most of them, they don't even lie. They will just say, maybe my ex was toxic, maybe my parents never loved me, maybe. Most of them, they will say. When she says that, at that very moment, she wants someone who can show love to her. Yeah, that very moment is because she feels safe with you. But on the way, Isaac, you have to master what she's telling you. Because now on the way, something will happen. And the trauma that she has gone through, if she hasn't dealt with that shit in the near future, she will show extreme fear. Something will just happen, and I know what will happen. Most of the things will happen in ways you might never know. You might never know even. Okay. So let me read your questions. Let me hope I'm answering your questions, gentlemen. What are the signs that a woman portrays? Okay. Let me hope first I answered your question and you learned something. I was going to leave her. I gave them back. Okay, you gave her debit cards back. She skipped work and made me keep them. Wow. But she can't get that look back. But she listens to my every command. Exactly. But there is a possibility that in the near future, there is also a possibility that in the near future, again, in the near future, something will happen on the way. She has to be aware of that first. You can't fix her. She has to be aware of that. And there are many processes that you can go through, maybe, so that she can deal with that. She will meet you with a lady. Maybe you are just friends. Because of the insecurity and how she will perceive that, that might even amplify. That might amplify that fear that very moment. Once it's amplified, it can never go back, because that is like trying to, do you know when you're trying to maybe start a machine, it's not working, or maybe it's working, right? But it's using 30%. That is speed to operate. Okay? The speed of the machine that you are trying to operate on, it's only 30% out of 100. But then on the way, okay, while you're trying to use this machine, something happens. What happened? Maybe you jacked it. Okay? Maybe you added some oil in the machine. Okay? Adding oil in the machine is supposed to help it maybe be smooth, maybe so that when it's using, let me use the word, when you are trying to use a machine to process food, most of the time you will use oil. Okay? And then oil is for lubrication, right? So it is supposed to ease in what's the right word? The rotation of maybe I don't want to use a word that most of you can relate with, okay? It's just how a machine might find it easier for it to work and maybe do the work. Let me use that. That is the right way I can communicate, okay? So oil is for lubrication, right? But you are operating that machine on a 30% speed. The moment you stop the machine, you added oil in that machine so that maybe you can't hear the sound. You know, when you don't add oil in the machine, you will hear the sound from that machine. It's loud. Now you tell yourself, let me put some oil so that, okay, or maybe it can't overheat. Some of the machines that use, what's the word? That use motors, so that the motor, I hope most of you can relate with a motor, right? So that the motor cannot overheat, you have to add in more oil. When there is no oil in a motor, it will overheat, right? And maybe the oil helps in lubrication so that it can produce more heat, okay? So that it can produce more heat, right? And the more heat it produces, you can reset it so that it can manufacture and maybe cook a certain product to a maximum temperature, and you can come up with a better product. But in the process, the oil that you are adding in that machine Somehow on the way, okay, maybe it was less, maybe something happened, okay? And in that process, there was too much heat. And instead of producing a high quality product, the product that you are producing is actually burned. Why? Because instead of the oil helping the machine, okay, and assisting the machine to produce the heat because of the protecting of the bullets. I don't know. I don't want to talk some things that most of you can't relate with. Okay. But most of you girlfriends, most of you gentlemen can understand. So the oil is supposed to help the machine to move well. You are the oil. How you communicate to her, how you're having a nice conversation is supposed to help her deal with her own emotions. But the machine needs to read that oil that is supposed to help me produce a good product. If the machine can detect the oil, the motor can detect the oil. This is a confirmation that even when you added oil in that machine, but the motor is acting as if the oil is a hazard, it will operate on the opposite direction. There is a higher chance possibility. Like the motor, if your machine is maybe a modernized machine, and it can detect that actually there is more oil in that motor, it will overheat instead of cooling down. And you think having a nice conversation and being gentle, maybe it needs to help her be a better person. But to her, she doesn't detect that oil, that nice conversation, as it needs to help her deal with her own emotions. She will overheat because she's not detecting that. She is only detecting hazard, like a machine. Okay? A machine is detecting overheating, and it's not detecting that you added oil. And in the process, the motor might even explode. That is what happens, right? So she will explode because she's not detecting your care and love. So when you are nice, you are gentle, you have a low tone, it doesn't confirm that the motor will operate to how it's supposed to operate, because that is its nature. It's how it will detect that your voice is there to help it. So it's there to help her. If she can detect that, she can see that, and she can detect her own fears and deal with that. Even being nice, being gentle won't solve it, but it only gives you more peace on your side. It only gives you more peace. There is also a possibility that she will explode even when you are at peace. So the chaos will just be there. One day it will explode, then it will come back to normal. Then explode, then come back to normal, because that is how the machine operates, and that bug, it's how it can exist in that system, and that is how that machine receives information, and that is how it detects information, and it understands every other information. And it's why they do evil to you and pose that to you, and she will say it all like this is because of you. Because telling you that, Msokozi, let me hope that is your name, it's a hard name, telling you that and blaming you confirms, okay, blaming you and telling you that, Mohosi, confirms that now you are paying attention to her, And it's also a confirmation that she is trying to push you away because she is on an operating, she's using her brain, not her body. When she is using her brain, that chaotic system has been activated. And when her operating system has been activated, Isaac, it doesn't matter if blaming you is wrong and she's wrong. What matters is that is what she is operating on. That allows her to feel safe, and because it will push away the connection and the intimacy, because the connection and intimacy belongs to the physical body, and the physical body is right now not on an operational wave. The only thing that is in an operational wave, it is the brain. The brain is bypassing the connection. And now she can't apologize. The only way to pull back and get rid of that connection, because connection is fear, is to blame it on you. And if she blames everything on you and you can't react again, that chaotic pattern is still on a hypervigilant. It's hyper, okay? It's hypersensitive, if that is the right word. So she is, you have to walk on an eggshell, because at that very moment, you can't even tell when she will actually lash out again. Because she's still using her brain. She's not trying to connect. And when she will feel bad, she has dealt with her own emotions, her body is actually burning out, she will cool down. When she cools down, her brain will go into a default mode, and now the body will start to operate and look for connection. Because now the brain is not functioning, the body now is functioning. Now she wants connection, because when she gets intimate with you, it confirms that you won't abandon her. That is her operating system. But when it gets too deep, there is a possibility that we might have a conversation after us getting intimacy. After getting intimate, this is a confirmation that she might pull back instantly. Won't talk about it. She won't have a serious conversation. That is her coping mechanism. I hope you got the answer. I think she cheated once when I gave space, but she knows the man is an unquality man. I'm quality and she knows this, so her actions are confusing, but I give her zero energy now. Breadcrumbs. Okay. You will always win, Lemon. Okay. You will always win. Also, why do ladies avoid tough conversation in a relationship? They lack a strong, I've been repeating this festo again and again and again and again. They lack a strong emotional system internally. They have never built that. To have a tough conversation, you need to be strong mentally and emotionally. That is built internally. If she lacks that, and someone can lack that if they have an unhealthy coping mechanism. That is how you know she lacks it. Okay? It's not easy to build that, but it can work out. I hope we had serious conversation. You learned something. And yeah. The last questions before I end this live. Oh, sorry. Gentlemen, may we meet next time. And let's have peace. Take care, gentlemen. And until next time. Also, why do ladies, okay, class is over now. Yeah, it's over. Let's meet next time. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed this session. Bye bye, gentlemen.